They say the past always comes back to haunt you. For Chike, it came back wearing stilettos and a tight green dress on a Saturday night at Silverbird Galleria. The Lagos sun hung low over Victoria Island, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple as evening descended upon the city. 28-year-old Chike adjusted his crisp white shirt one more time before stepping out of his apartment in Lekki. Tonight was supposed to be simple. Just him, his girlfriend Amara, and the new Nollywood thriller everyone had been talking about at Silverbird Galleria. Amara waited by his car, a vision in her burgundy dress, her braids freshly done and cascading over her shoulders. She smiled when she saw him, that warm smile that had captured his heart 8 months ago at his cousin's wedding. "You look beautiful," Chike said, opening the car door for her. "And you look like you're trying too hard," she teased, sliding into the passenger seat. "It's just a movie, babe." If only she knew how right she was. If only Chike knew how wrong the evening was about to go. The drive through Lagos traffic was the usual chaos. Okadas weaving between cars, street vendors dodging vehicles, the air thick with exhaust and the smell of suya from roadside grills. They talked about their week, laughed about Amara's colleague who kept microwaving fish in the office, discussed plans for Christmas in December. Everything felt right. Everything felt safe. The Galleria was packed when they arrived, typical for a Saturday evening. Young Lagosians dressed in their finest casual wear crowded the cinema lobby. The smell of fresh popcorn mixed with expensive perfumes and colognes. Chike held Amara's hand as they navigated through the crowd toward the ticket counter. That's when he heard it. That laugh. That specific, unmistakable laugh that used to make his heart race 2 years ago. "Chike, is that you?" He turned, and there she was. Nkechi. His stomach dropped like he'd just gone over a speed bump too fast. She stood with 3 other women, all dressed like they were headed to a club rather than a cinema. But Nkechi stood out, wearing a tight green dress that left little to the imagination, her makeup flawless, her confidence radiating across the lobby. "Nkechi," he managed, his voice coming out slightly strangled. He felt Amara's hand tense in his. Nkechi glided toward them, her friends following like an entourage. Her eyes sparkled with something dangerous, something familiar. "It's been so long. 2 years. Can you imagine?" She air-kissed both his cheeks before he could protest, her perfume, the same one she used to wear, flooding his senses with unwanted memories. "Yeah, it's been a while," Chike said, acutely aware of Amara's silence beside him. "Nkechi, this is Amara, my girlfriend. Amara, this is Nkechi, an old friend." The word friend hung in the air like a bad smell. Nkechi's smile widened as she extended a perfectly manicured hand to Amara. "Girlfriend. How lovely. Chike and I go way back, don't we, Chi-Chi?" Chi-Chi. Nobody had called him that in 2 years. Nobody but her. Amara shook Nkechi's hand with the kind of firm grip that said she wasn't intimidated, but Chike could see the question forming in her eyes. He'd mentioned an ex before, but he'd been deliberately vague about details. Now those details were standing in front of them in a green dress and heels. "Which movie are you seeing?" one of Nkechi's friends asked, breaking the tension. "The new thriller, Lagos Shadows," Amara answered, her voice steady. "No way. Us too," Nkechi exclaimed, clapping her hands together. "This is destiny, Chike. We have to sit together." Chike felt sweat forming on his forehead despite the air conditioning. "The cinema's pretty full, I'm sure." "Nonsense, we can make it work," Nkechi interrupted, already moving toward the ticket counter. Her friends followed, giggling among themselves. In the ticket queue, Nkechi positioned herself next to Chike while Amara stood on his other side. It was the most uncomfortable sandwich he'd ever been in. "So, Chike," Nkechi began, her voice low and suggestive. "Do you remember the last movie we watched together? That romantic comedy at Genesis?" She laughed, touching his arm. "We didn't even finish watching it because you kept making me laugh." Chike gently removed his arm from her touch. "That was a long time ago, Nkechi. But good times don't expire, do they?" she pressed, leaning closer. "I've been thinking about you lately, wondering what could have been if things hadn't ended so abruptly." Amara cleared her throat. "Actually, they ended because you moved to Abuja for work, right?" She looked directly at Nkechi. "That's what Chike told me." Nkechi's smile faltered for a moment before recovering. "Is that what he said? Well, there was a bit more to it than that, but..." "Next!" the ticket vendor called. The movie itself was torture. Through some maneuvering that Chike still didn't understand, they ended up in the same row, Chike between Amara and Nkechi. Throughout the film, Nkechi found reasons to lean over, to whisper comments, to touch his arm at scary parts. Her perfume was everywhere. Her presence was suffocating. "Remember when we used to watch movies every Saturday?" she whispered during a quiet scene. "Those were the best days of my life, Chi-Chi." Chike leaned toward Amara, wrapping his arm around her shoulders firmly, making his position clear. Amara relaxed slightly into his embrace, but he could feel the tension in her body. When the lights came up after the movie, Nkechi's campaign reached its crescendo. "We should all go for drinks. There's that new bar in Ikoyi that—" "Actually," Amara interrupted, standing up, "Chike and I have dinner reservations. Don't we, baby?" They didn't, but Chike had never loved her more than in that moment. "Yes, we should get going. Nice seeing you, Nkechi. Enjoy your night." As they walked toward the exit, Nkechi caught up, grabbing Chike's arm. "Wait, can I at least get your number? You know, to catch up properly sometime." Chike looked at her, really looked at her, and saw clearly what he'd been too young to see 2 years ago. The manipulation, the need for attention, the inability to respect boundaries. He saw why it had ended, why it had to end. "I don't think that's a good idea," he said firmly. "Take care of yourself, Nkechi." In the car, silence reigned for the first few minutes as they pulled into Lagos traffic. Finally, Amara spoke. "So, Chi-Chi." Chike groaned. "Please don't. And she just happened to be wearing your favorite color?" "Green is not my, okay, maybe it used to be." Amara laughed, and the tension broke like a popped balloon. "You looked so uncomfortable. I almost felt sorry for you. Almost." "I'm sorry about all that," Chike said seriously. "I didn't know she'd be there. I didn't know she still felt that way." "I know," Amara said, reaching over to squeeze his hand. "But now I'm starving, and you mentioned dinner reservations we don't have." Chike grinned, the weight lifting from his shoulders. "Mr. Biggs or KFC?" "Mr. Biggs. And you're buying me extra meat pie for emotional damages." As they drove through the Lagos night toward their impromptu dinner, Chike realized something important. The past had showed up in a green dress tonight, trying to rewrite history. But the present was sitting beside him, making jokes about meat pies, secure enough to laugh at awkward encounters. Sometimes the best Saturday nights are the ones that test you. And sometimes, just sometimes, you pass the test without even trying.